In this video, I'm going to give you guys a complete blueprint on how to get Supersonic Legend in 2025. And what I'd personally do if I wasn't already SSL, this is the method I would use to get SSL. And actually, it's the method I did use. So I'm going to be sharing that with you guys for completely free. Real quick, if you're wondering who I am, my name's Dice, and I'm usually SSL all season when I'm playing the game. And my whole thing is trying to get really high ranked in low hours so you can spend the rest of your time having friends, having family, having hobbies, doing other things besides playing Rocket League all day, because I don't think you need to play the game all day long to rank up. Let's get back to the video. The first thing we're going to talk about is mechanics, because mechanics is pretty much everything in Rocket League, at least at the start. We're going to learn 3 to 5 mechanics of our choosing. So for example's sake, let's say we choose flicking, shooting, and fast aerialing. Let's say those are our 3 mechanics that we pick. What we're going to do is we're going to go in training and only practice those 3 mechanics until we have them down, which won't take too long. They're pretty easy mechanics. It's not like me saying go master a quad reset. It's pretty easy. Bounce dribbles, you just practice getting the power down. Flicking, you just practice putting where it is on your car. I actually have a tutorial for each of these mechanics I listed. And then fast aerial, that's just a bit of practice on understanding the movement with your joystick or keyboard and mouse or whatever it is. But they're all pretty easy mechanics. So it would probably take you maybe a few days at the most to really get these mechanics down, at least at a basic level. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go into ranked, and every time you have an offensive position, you're only going to use these 3 mechanics. So if you have a free 1v1, you could set up a bounce dribble. If you have a free 1v1, you could set up a flick. If you have a free 1v1, you could try to fast aerial, or really whatever 3 to 5 mechanics you choose. And you'll notice that if you watch not so mechanical players, you'll notice that they really only do this as well. If you watch them play ranked, or even if you watch them at their highest level, Squishy and Leth are now retired, and Flakes is now retired, they're all retired now. But if you really watch any not so mechanical player, even X-Pro player, Alpha Cap, all of these players only use the same 2 to 3 moves for offense. Even in their ranked 2v2, if you watch their streams, each of them stream now, they will only use the same 2 to 3 mechanics. It's either going to be a flick, maybe an air dribble bump, or that's really it. They're really only going to flick, air dribble bump, or shoot. So it's the same thing that everyone else is doing. They just don't really want to admit it, because that's kind of the easiest way to be the highest rank without playing all day and mastering mechanics is just learning the basic mechanics and then spamming them. That's what every top 1v1 player does. If you watch Apparently Jack, pretty much every one of his goals is either air dribble bumps, flicking, or a low 50. That's pretty much every goal from every 1v1 player. And you can apply this at 2v2, 3v3, and you will rank up if you're good enough at the mechanics. Now, in terms of game sense, this is probably the hardest part, because a lot of people will get stuck at around Champ 3 or Grand Champ 1 because their mechanics overrule their game sense. So I wouldn't really recommend just skipping the game sense portion, but game sense is going to be harder to learn. And the method I would use to learn this is to just watch my replays. If I watch my replay of a 2v2 game that I lost, or even a 1v1 game, I can just see where I went wrong and what mistakes I made. But you will get to a point where maybe your GC2, 1600, 1650, GC3, around the 1700 range, and you're watching your replays and you just genuinely don't know what you're doing wrong. I was at that point myself, and so I hired a coach to give me a replay review, because they can see things in replays that someone else can't, because they've been playing for so much longer. They understand more of the game than I did. And so I could send them my replay, send them like however much it was. And then simply they told me something I didn't understand, and they gave me a full explanation. And like within a week, I completely ranked up. So that's what I would recommend you guys to do. I offer replay review coaching. If you guys are interested in that, just join the first link in the description of this video if you guys are interested. And that's pretty much the only way to learn game sense really fast, is to understand your mistakes and then fix your mistakes. That's really the only way. If you go to a YouTube video that says game sense tutorial, every player has different thoughts going through their head. Some players like to rotate back post, some players don't. You'll hear a YouTuber say rotate back post, but maybe there's a situation where you need to rotate ball side to cut off the opponent. There's a lot of situations for different things. So if you want situation-based answers, you have to go to your own situation, which is just watching your replays. And that's the really annoying part about it, is because it's really boring to watch your replays. You kind of have to have replay analysis, or like what I call analysis paralysis, and just analyze every single thing, being super anal about it and overthinking every single thing. And it's really annoying. I don't like doing it like for myself. Obviously, I do it for a lot of other people. I've ranked up hundreds of people, but either way, it's just the most annoying part about this entire process of getting SSL. The next part here is the mentality behind actually ranking up. A lot of people will queue ranked pretty much all day, thinking the more I play, the higher rank I'll get. And this really couldn't be further from the truth. It's kind of like anything else in life. Quality will always supersede quantity, because if I play 300 ranked games a day, I don't even know if that's possible, but let's just say I play an insane amount. One ranked game is about 5 minutes. So if I want to play for 600 minutes, what is that? 10 hours. If I want to play for 10 hours, which some people do, most pros play for 10 hours a day. That's not unheard of. If I play for 10 hours, that would be like 60 games or something. I don't really know the math, but whatever it would be, the amount of quality per game would be horrible, because you can't possibly have enough brain power to think thoroughly through each one of these games. You're going to have what I like to call gamers fatigue. Your brain's going to be tired. You're tired of playing the game. You just need a break. So my personal method is playing 30 minutes of ranked a day at the high end. And even that is quite a bit. When I used to play ranked a lot, I would always notice that I was worse when I played more. And I always thought that was super weird, because you'll see a lot of pros playing all day, and I don't know how they don't get tired. But for me, if I play over an hour a day, I genuinely play worse than when I have less hours. And that could just be like a genetic thing. It could just be me, but I just feel like the more you play, the worse each quality of each game goes. Because if you only play 5 games a day, and let's say you win every game, we're not even going to talk about the winning side, but in terms of the mentality, if you play 5 games, you can think through every single thing you do in those 5 games. Like for the kickoff, I'm going to try to hit the center of the ball facing goal side so I can take this back to my boost and I'll have free possession. You can think through pretty much every single thing you're doing in these 5 games. And maybe you go 5-0, maybe you don't. But if you play 60 games and you win 30 and you lose 30, you're in the exact same position you were. And the biggest issue when you play this many games is you'll develop bad habits, because you're playing kind of on autopilot mode. There's no way you can think through everything you're doing, so you're doing things subconsciously. So what happens is you'll subconsciously, I don't know, double jump instead of fast aerial, and you'll keep doing this because your fingers aren't really registering the right actions. So maybe you'll develop this habit, and there's just random habits that could happen, but really anything could happen. So the reason you only want to play a little bit a day is so that you can think through really, really deeply about each thing you do, and then make sure you're always making the right decision for certain things. Like, do I go for boost? Do I go for the ball? Do I challenge this play? Do I cover the net? Do I go up? There's just so many things you could think about. And that's kind of my 2 cents on game sense and mentality and mechanics. And that's the blueprint I'd personally use if I wanted to rank up in 2025. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.